On today's episode of Performance TV, we get more power from your engine, tune up that diesel truck, show you how to clean that rusty chrome, and help you fix those annoying paint troubles.
Welcome to this week's edition of Performance TV. This week we're going to be talking about diesel motors. There's more and more diesels on the road today, and people are looking to really enhance the performance of those motors. Today I've got Dan Scheid of Scheid Diesel Service, and he has some new fuel injectors that actually add 50 horsepower while saving on mileage. Dan, can you tell me about them?
We have our premium injector here that we're utilizing, and with this injector we have a new nozzle installed, and we have new valve piece installed, and we have a brand new solenoid installed on our premium injector there. Along with that, then, we also recommend going ahead and installing new pass-through tubes into the injectors to where that we've got a good seating surface between the injector and between the fuel passage there also.
Now, if we're going to do this job, aren't there some other components here that we should change just to make sure we do a proper job?
Yeah, we also have intake gaskets here, so we do recommend going ahead and installing new intake gaskets, and then we also highly recommend installing a new fuel filter every time as well. And then we've also got some fuel additive as well that we put in with it, clean the fuel system and add performance as well.
Okay, why don't we see how Dave's doing on the install job?
Okay.
Well, we've already got 4 of our injectors installed, a couple more to go. We cleaned things up with our blaster a little bit, and we're ready to install. I've got Jared here from Scheid Diesel giving me a hand. What's next on our deal?
Well, as I'm disassemble, I was taking the injectors out and then making sure the copper gaskets would be out, so I ain't double gasketing.
Right.
So this is number 2 of our 50 horse injectors.
All right.
And then you oil this O-ring right here.
Oh, okay.
So you have a good solid click in, and you'll hear it click when it goes in.
Oh, I see.
Okay. So now we'll go to the crossover tube. This is a high pressure tube. This is here. This seal needs to be inside there, and when it goes in there, it needs to be perfect. Because if it ain't, it'll leak into the crankcase. Oh. It'll make fuel go into your oil.
Oh, man.
And all that kind of stuff. So, you know, premature wear on any bearings in the engine, stuff like that. So, anyway, as we put it in, oil this O-ring also.
I see.
And it'll do the same kind of click. It's got detent balls on it. So then you'll hear it go in also.
Oh, and that's how you just rotate it until it clicks right into that.
So now you know it's in there.
Oh, I see.
Seated together, okay? So then there's a preliminary inch-pound torque to these injectors. You got to put 44 inch-pounds on this injector and 37 inch-pounds on the hold-down nut for the crossover tube. So then you know they have a good seat with each other. So,
and that's real important, right? Because these pieces can break or you strip out your bolts and then you're really in serious problems.
Yes, sir. When you go to install the fuel lines, you want to blow them out, make sure there ain't no debris in there, because if there's any debris, it'll close up the high-pressure port on your injector and you'll have a miss or something like that. So it's good to be real clean with your install.
Right.
So
I noticed you disconnected the negative battery cable.
Yes, because you're working with electronics here.
Right.
So anytime you have these solenoids right here have wires on them, so you got your solenoid connection, and you don't want those to cross or anything like that. So
I see.
You want to always take your battery
and disconnect it so we don't mess up our electrical.
Yep.
Killer.
So there's that snap.
Okay.
So that's number 1.
Okay, we're going to go ahead and finish this up, double check everything, make sure it's good to go. Then we're going to go ahead and fire it up, and you can hear it. But first, check this out.
Welcome to the Evapo-Rust tip of the week. Another question we get a lot is, how do you fix rusted chrome? Re-chroming something can be very expensive, so Evapo-Rust is a great alternative.
That's right, Tosh. We get that question all the time because re-chroming something is expensive.
Very expensive.
But bad chrome looks terrible.
Terrible.
So, what's the answer? It's Evapo-Rust. Evapo-Rust will eat the rust and leave whatever chrome is there. So it's real simple. You just drop your parts into the Evapo-Rust. It absorbs all the rust and it ignores all the chrome. So if your part went in looking like that, once you pull it out,
It looks much better.
it's not perfect by any means.
No.
But it's going to look a lot better until you're ready to get this part re-chromed. Here's some other examples that we've done. Here's a piece. You can see this is the before side, and here's the after. Drop it in, let it soak, pull it out, rinse it with water, dry it, and then hit it with some chrome polish. You've gone from really terrible looking to passable until you're ready to do something further or find a new piece to replace this.
It's safe, simple, and so easy to use.
Here's another one. Here's a hubcap, and you can see this was terrible looking before. Now it's come out. It looks
really good.
looks really good. I'll show you the back side. You can see how bad it was rusted previously. Now it's down to bare metal. Some parts you have on your car, if you're doing an older car, you can't even find, like these old ashtrays. Sometimes you want them to be original to the car. If it looked like this when you put it in there, you're going to pull it out, you're going to get as much as you can back. And that's going to look a lot better and serve you a lot better until you're ready to get this re-chromed or find a replacement part.
If you have any other questions, visit our website at evaporust.com.
All right, well, we are all ready to go. Robert, hit me. All right, sounds good.
Okay, fired up, sounds good. Don't have any leaks. We got the fuel filter changed, so I said, hey, we'd be good to go.
All right. Well, if you need help with your diesel, you just go to ScheidDiesel.com and they'll be willing to help you out. We'll be back with more Performance TV right after this break.
This edition of Performance TV is being brought to you by Evapo-Rust, super safe rust remover. Borla, the world's most winning exhaust. U.S. Specialty Vehicles, you know you want one. And by Dustless Blasting, it's the future of surface preparation.
Welcome back to Performance TV. Now, a lot of us have vehicles that get little nicks or dings on it, just like this car behind me. The mirror was actually in pretty bad shape, and we're going to show you how Automotive Touch-Up products can help you do this at home. Now, we're going to do it outside, just like a lot of you guys would do in your driveway. Now, Dave, you're a professional painter here.
Yep.
So why don't you tell me what our first step ought to be with something like this?
First thing is always clean, clean, clean. So
Yeah.
you have to clean it so that when you're sanding it, you don't grind the dirt into your paint job. So first thing I do is I get a prep-all or a prep and to clean it up good. Then I'm going to scratch it up with a 320 scratch pad. This will give me some mechanical adhesion. Then, because it's a plastic part, we put on our adhesion promoter.
Okay, and then can we put our primer right on top of that, or what's next?
No, you always want to wait a pretty good time before you put each coat on, and you go from adhesion promoter to sandable primer. You need to make sure that you give it 5-10 minutes between each coat. You want to do it more if it's cold or it's wet outside. You can go a little bit less if it's hot and it's sunny outside. But the time and the cleanliness are going to be your two best factors of getting your best job.
Well, why don't we go ahead and throw our first coat of base coat on here?
All right.
And you think that's going to take more than one coat, generally?
Yeah, generally you're going to want, 2, 3, 4. It depends on your coverage and if it's matching or not. So you go ahead and you shoot it, you see how it looks, but it's generally going to be at least 2 or 3 coats. So we'll just shoot that up. We'll give that a few minutes, and then we'll shoot some more coats on it in a bit.
Okay, and then when that's done, we're going to throw a couple coats of clear on it, and we're done, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, you could wet sand and color, polish it, and all that kind of stuff too. But this clear coat works pretty well, and we can generally just shoot it on there, and it'll be good for just your average little mutt like this.
Okay, now that's what you do if you have a larger area to paint, but we've got some little nicks, so we're going to take the car inside and show you how to take care of a little nick. I was reading that Automotive Touch-Up has over 60,000 OEM colors in stock. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, that is, and I heard they have 300,000 different color combinations.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. So for smaller chips and scratches, they have a number of products here. They've got the paint pens. You actually push those against the surface to allow the paint to flow out. They have smaller bottles, and these contain a touch-up brush. And then they've got larger bottles if you want to keep it for some time.
One of the things I like is that they have these little dabbers here, and they've got an excellent little tip on here, and it gives you really good control in putting this down. And really that's, one of your main parts on this.
So if it's a big chip, would you recommend going ahead and sanding that?
Well, I probably fill it up as best I could with the primer, and then that's generally going to spill over the edge a little bit.
Okay.
So I'll sand that down just a hair. But we've already got a little bit of primer on this, and I'm going to go ahead and put my color on now. And a little dab will do ya. You really want to actually go for kind of the least amount of paint you can get.
Less is more.
Right. We're really wanting to make sure we don't spill over the edge and then give that big fat appearance. Now I can also put the color on and I can build the color up and then I can sand the color down with say 600 or so, but I'll need to be real careful on that also because that can also spill over the edge and the scratch marks can get around. So I'm gonna let that sit for a bit.
Well, while Dave's over there watching the paint dry, I thought I'd show you how the mirror came out. Looks pretty shiny and nice for doing something outside in the wind. Now Dave, he's got a couple other little tiny spots. He's gonna show you how to take care of those.
Just wanted to use this pen here and give it a shot. And clever little device, you just shake it up a little bit and push down. Looks like my other spot's looking pretty good, so things are looking nice. It's clever little design, 60,000 colors, we gotta be good.
Well, as you can see, Automotive Touchup has everything you need. They've got your car color in stock. For more information and how to do videos, go to automotivetouchup.com. Now don't go away, we'll be back right after this.
Performance TV coming from Borla Commerce Park.
Welcome back to Performance TV. We're looking at a Challenger with a 5.7 liter Hemi and our shaker trim on it. Today I've got John from Diablosport. He's going to show us just how easy it is to work on our computer. What are we looking at here?
Well, we're looking at actual factory computers. Now, one of them is modified by Diablosport, and one of them is stock. If you're actually looking at them, you cannot tell the difference. They look identical.
Yeah.
And also here on the table, I have the basic tools required in order to do the swap, and our tools to actually tune the vehicle when you're done with the swap. So what you want to do first thing is always disconnect the battery, because you never know if something's going to happen. This is an electrical component. You have to remove the power from it. Once you do that, to access the computer is in a basic location. Okay? For most vehicles, it is located in the engine bay on the firewall passenger side. Now that covers most of the applications that we do, from the Challenger to the Chrysler 300, the Dodge Charger, the Ram, Grand Cherokee. It actually, you know, the location of the computer might differ, but all of them are readily accessible. And they all require basic tools, and most of them are only 3-bolt patterns, 3-bolt mounting.
I see. So computer sounds scary, but we're talking 3 tools and we're out of there.
Yeah, it's really quick. The entire process for somebody who can operate a ratchet is probably under 10 minutes. You know, if you're 15 minutes, that's still not a big deal. You know, the novice person can still do it in his garage without a mechanic's assistance.
All right, John, we got everything set up. We got a bracket on here, so now we can show everybody just how easy this is to install.
Absolutely.
All right. Got our safety for the fender on there.
Now there's 2 connections here. You're going to want to leave the top one out.
Okay.
Otherwise, you need the access to get to the second connector.
I see.
So stick this down into the hole.
All right.
Start with your first connector. They only go on one way. So, and each connector is kind of labeled, you know, it's color coded. Now this one, you're going to lock it in place.
Okay. You just fold that arm down?
Just basically fold it down. Yeah, it's a locking tab.
Gotcha.
Seat the second one and do the same thing outside.
And then, all right.
Okay, and then it just kind of slips in there.
Okay.
Now if you can hand me the bolt.
You got it?
Take your bolt, put it back in. Now this bolt doesn't have to be excessively tight. You just got to make it tight.
Okay. And 1/2 inch 13 millimeter bolt?
This is a 13 millimeter ratcheting wrench. You could do a 13 millimeter ratchet. It's a real basic tool. There's really nothing involved, nothing crazy. You don't need any special thing to go about it.
So we've got our unlock computer in there. Now we can go ahead and program. If we put turbos and miscellaneous things on, we have to do that, right?
Absolutely. In order to tune any 2015, 2016 vehicle, you need either a modified computer, your original, or to purchase a modified computer from us, which is pre-programmed and more or less plug and play, ready to go.
What are we doing next?
Well, this satisfies the computer. It satisfies or gives you the ability to tune it. And then what happens is you take one of our performance tuners from Diablosport and you plug it into your OBD connector and you actually tune the vehicle. You're going to accomplish your actual end goal, is tune a vehicle, get more horsepower, better power you can feel across the entire power range. And it also depends on which gas you're running, 87, 91, 93, or step it up at the track and run race fuel.
Well, I can't wait to see this green machine run. We're going to do that in just a minute, but before, you better check this out.
This week on the zMAX Micro Lubricant Minute, Tommy, we're going to talk about convenience because look at all the different variety of sizes and packaging and the way they've done it for different applications.
What is the difference between the zMAX engine formula, the fuel formula, or the transmission formula? Nothing. It's the same because it's not an additive for oil or fuel. It is a metal treatment. So what gets that to the metal? Of course, the oil and the fuel. So zMAX goes with them, gets to the metal, and then it penetrates the metal, makes it a smoother surface, runs cleaner, it reduces the buildup, the sludge to the metal. It makes everything operate better, whether it be fuel, transmission, or the engine.
You know what, and it's just something that just makes, like I said, makes it easier and convenient. And they even have special bottles they do that are great for like oil change locations or your service centers. And Sonic service centers, for an example, who you would be able to find bottles like this. Now, this particular bottle of zMAX is going to cover all different kinds of things. It just shows you how much or how little you actually need to use for the different applications, all the way down to your steering box.
That's right. And they also have the kit where you can get the fuel and the engine together, or you can get them separate, get a transmission. They have it pretty laid out for you where there's no mistakes, and it's so easy to do.
Yeah, and zMAX product has been around for a very, very long time. And we're talking about convenience. I think it's pretty convenient when you can buy something and save some money too. And they have a great rebate going on right now as well on their product. You want to find out more and how convenient it is to treat the metal in your vehicles? Just hop on their website at zmax.com.
Oh, that green machine can scream. I
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, I told you. I mean, it's a really simple process.
So if I want to find out more information, where do I go?
Go to our website, Diablosport.com, and check out this product as well as any other performance tuning option.
Great, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Well, don't worry about it. We got plenty more Performance TV coming at you. Don't go anywhere.
This edition of Performance TV is being brought to you by zMAX, the one product for your engine, transmission, and fuel system. Nally Diesel Performance, Ford trained and certified. WSM Performance Parts, your hard part source. And by Stage 8, the world's best locking fastener.
Welcome back to Performance TV. We're talking diesels, and today we're talking diesel tuning. I've got a good friend here, Matt Robinson from Gearhead Tuning. Matt, why don't you tell us how your tuning works?
Well, our tuning takes a holistic approach to tuning. We tune the whole truck based on the modifications. So we tune bone stock trucks too, but when it comes to trucks with modifications such as injectors, turbos, transmissions, we actually go back and correct all of the intricacies that go along with making the truck run like a stock truck until you're ready for the extra power.
So this sounds like custom tuning. I would tell you what I've done to my truck, for example, if I've got studs on my heads or if I've got extra horsepower injectors?
Yep. That's exactly what we do. That's our specialty. We tune bone stock trucks too, but when it comes to heavy modifications, we can make the truck drive just like it did off the factory floor. But then when you want the power, it's there, but without the little drivability gremlins you might have along the way with modifications.
Okay, now what about hardware?
We have two popular options. We use the SCT product on Fords. We have two popular options. We have the Livewire TS, which is a touchscreen with monitoring, and then we have the X4, which is our entry-level product. Both have the exact same tuning capabilities. The Livewire TS just simply has monitoring available.
Okay, so we've actually already sent you the tuning for this truck. You've written a program for us, is that correct?
That's correct. The way it normally works is the customer will grab their software, send us the information, we email them back a file, and if they have received that emailed file, then they put it on the tuner, load it on the truck, and go drive.
Okay, so even for your basic tuning, doesn't that increase my miles per gallon, my horsepower?
It does. Massive power increases on a diesel. Your horsepower per dollar with programming alone is very, very high, so you really can gain a lot with just programming.
Okay, that sounds good to me. Let's see what we can do. So Lars is going to help us program this?
Yep, Lars is going to show us how we actually do the programming process itself.
Okay.
Hey Robert, we got the programmer loaded up with a custom tune file. We're going to go ahead and plug it in, get the stock file saved, and we already set all the user options in here, so we're going to skip that step. But if the customer does have larger tires or changes tires down the road, he can go in there and adjust on his end to make sure the transmission shifts like it should.
Terrific.
Well, let's go ahead and get this thing plugged in and going.
All right, sounds good. Yeah.
Go ahead and get the key turned forward. There's a program vehicle option in here.
Okay.
Select that, street use notice, continue. Make sure the keys turn forward, continue there. And it also has some preloaded tunes that come available in SCT Tuner. We're going to skip that since this truck has some modifications done. We're going to go ahead and load the SRL file on here.
Okay.
It's under the custom tune section. Go ahead and select that. And now it's going to start saving your stock file for you automatically.
And you want to save your stock file in case you ever have to go back.
You can save it to your computer in case you ever need to, in case your programmer breaks or something like that. You always have your stock file backed up. You can load it on a different programmer.
That makes sense.
But like I said, we already got all the options set, but they're still there in case the customer changes his tire size. We can go ahead and approve it.
And about how long does it take to reset the programming in this vehicle?
Once it's already programmed, it only takes 3 or 4 minutes to switch programming. With initial programming, including saving the stock file, generally takes about 10 minutes.
Okay,
So,
that's not too bad. So I've noticed you've turned the key off and back on again.
yes, sir. It'll prompt you on the screen when to turn the key on and off.
Okay,
But once it's on, you leave it until it tells you to shut it off. But we're saving stock data now, so we'll be ready to go in about 10 minutes.
so Matt, what kind of horsepower should I expect from this tuning?
With these injectors, this truck should be in the high 400, low 500 horsepower at the tires.
And what about my drivability?
You get all the drivability back you have with the stock truck. None of the, I guess, drivability gremlins you have with the modified injectors typically.
You know what, I can't wait to get in this and see how it runs outside. How are we doing there, Lars?
We're doing good. Finishing up, about to fire it up, make sure everything's good.
Okay, let's take this outside. Well, I told you we were going to come outside and see how this truck performs. Let's check it out. Hit it. Well, that was some nice visual proof, but you know, Gearhead actually did a dyno on a stock vehicle, the SCT tuning, and their own tuning. The proof's in the pudding when you see it out of a dyno. Well, that's all the time we have this week, folks. Be sure to tune in next week for more Performance TV.